Hi, my name is Mark Stallard. Welcome to Little Green Man. The start of 2018, the first month, has been kind of a monumental one for Ontario, raising the minimum wage to $14 an hour, with intent of raising it to $15 an hour. And of course, 4 weeks of data is finally in. We've waited so long for it, and everybody are jumping to absolutely ridiculous and insane conclusions. Absolutely ridiculous. It's insane. So I'm going to talk about an article in the Financial Post, financialpost.com. Link is in the description. You'll see there as the main article. I'm going to talk about this one because this was the first article that came to my attention, and it's the one I'm most familiar with. The thing that's kind of funny about this is these statistics came out, and it seems like the neoliberals media just went nuts with this and saying, see, raising minimum wage is really, really bad and is an immediate and absolutely devastating results. Actually, let's read through the article and we'll see what really happened. And is there any truth in that at all? So the Financial Business Post.com had this article headline, Canada just lost the most jobs in 9 years, with biggest drop on record in part-time work. And it actually goes on to say it was payback time for Canada's labour market in January, with the biggest monthly job loss since the last recession, all part-time, as employers faced quickening wage gains. Right, so that sets the scene. It doesn't say it explicitly, but it really leaves you with the absolute, without any real doubt, that this drop must have been absolutely connected to the minimum wage. Well, actually, there are some issues with that statement and with that lead-in. It is completely and totally false. It is very misleading at best. Reading through the article, just a couple of paragraphs later, it actually says the employment drop coincided with an increase in minimum wage in Canada's largest province, Ontario. And so it says right there, it was a coincidence. It did coincide. There was the two things did seem to happen at the same time. But that was really that's all the evidence they've got. Timing. Now, if we would look at, I'm going to put this chart up on the screen right now, so you can see what I'm seeing. There's a chart got job gains hit sharp stop in January. There's a net change in labour force, and you can see it. I mean, if you just blur your vision just a little bit, you can see it goes up and down, and it goes up and down really quite regularly. So we're starting. This chart starts in 2012, so if we look at mid-2012, it starts to go down towards the end of 2013. Real job gains are really lacking there right for those 6 months or so between 2013 and 2014. It seems to pick up a little bit with a little blip around November, December of 2014, and then it goes down and hits the trend seems to die off there at the end of 2015, beginning of 2016. And then the trend in the middle of 2016 picks up in a far bigger way, showing far more job growth than all those other years have seen. So this is a massive jump with an anomalous jump in November, December of 2017. Look at those spikes on the end of 2017. They stand out. It's only at the beginning of 2012 you see anything bigger. And so we have this sudden drop. So job gains have dropped in 2018, but it looks to me like it was going to go up. It was the job gains were going up, they were going down, they're going up, and they're going down quite regularly. And the fact that it went up in September, October, November, and December of 2017 at all was an absolute surprise and stunning. So to expect all those jobs to suddenly, or those job creation to suddenly go away, that it's not really that surprising, and it was really expected, and it came later than one might guess it would by looking at this graph here, this chart, I mean. And with that first glance of that chart, the very first paragraph that follows it, it even admits now the report is a long-awaited correction in a tightening labour market that is more consistent with an economy that has been slowing down since the second half of last year. They admit it right there. This has nothing to do with the minimum wage. It's just coincidentally something that they were expecting to happen because the ups in the job growth could not have continued going up. They had to have come down at some point. And so then when we look at that those job gains. It was really just a drop in part-time jobs. Full-time jobs did not lose. Those continued to raise, certainly not as much. And something that this article does not say is what happened to those part-time jobs? What are some possibilities? It's possible some of these part-time jobs may become full-time jobs. I mean, it's possible those jobs still exist and those people are unemployed. But I think that one of the biggest things to note is that this article says, doesn't say it in this article, but there was another article that said along these lines that since 2009, since the crash, rather 2008, that the unemployment rate in Ontario is almost as high as it's been since that crash, and only 1% down on the previous year. So to say that this is a big loss in jobs, minimum wage are going to cause job losses, the economy is going to suffer, absolutely gone. This article even says this was expected and has nothing, and then we can read into that has nothing to do with minimum wage. Now, of course, I've got to end this with some headlines from some other articles that use the same data that was absolutely ridiculous. They were doing the same ones, making the same approach with the same, pretending the minimum wage and the job losses in the part-time area were related. CBC reprinted an article, and the headline is, Ontario sheds 39,000 part-time jobs in January as new $14 minimum wage begins. Canoe.com repeated this almost word for word. Ontario sheds 59,000 part-time jobs in January following the $14 minimum wage. And there were several other examples where they pretty much copied and pasted, maybe made a very slight change. Bloomberg, blame Ontario minimum wage hike for Canada job purge or not. They know right there in the article that this is just inflammatory stuff that they just want to grab attention. Clickbait. That's all this is. And then Vice Money goes on to say that Canada lost 88,000 jobs in January, most of them in Ontario, and goes on to say in the opening paragraphs that it was possibly could it be due to the minimum wage raise in Ontario. It's just absolutely dishonest, complete reporting, completely dishonest, trying to lead a conversation to where it shouldn't be going. This is absolutely factless. Now, if you're still in doubt about the minimum wage and is it good for the economy, then there is the National Employment Law Project wrote this 10-page paper, Raise Wages, Kill Jobs. It is about a 10-page paper. You can read through it. Or Business Insider has a very decent summary on this 2016 report. Read through that. There's lots of good information, and we'll give you some actual data right from the 1930s to present day, how the minimum wage, when it goes up, does not in any way affect the economy in any lasting way. So let me leave you with this. All these scaremongering about the minimum wage and how it's going to hurt the economy is just corporations, it's just neoliberals, people with conservative views that businesses are that which must be worshipped, and therefore we must protect their profits because profits are the holy grail of business. But I say this, if you cannot afford as a business, as a corporation, and I'm not talking to small businesses here, I'm talking to those people that really can afford to pay your people with your millions and billions of dollars of profits. If you can't afford to pay your staff a living wage, then you can't afford to be in business. Little green man. This is the back door to the Manitoba legislature. Now, if you hit the subscribe button now, hit the notification bell, then you won't be surprised when they try to stick something up your back door.